Everybody, thank you for joining us for another live episode of the Pursuit of Purpose podcast with the What Are We Doing series. I'm Rob, and I got with me
Chuck. Sorry.
And Chuck, tell them what our topic of today is.
Well, we kind of have this host of topic, but I want to put a buzzword out there that I think will get some folks thinking, and that is this idea of slavery. Slavery. And I'm sure a lot of images just came to mind for the people in our great audience, and we appreciate you. And then if you have input as we go, please, send us messages. We'd love to hear your thoughts as well. But we're going to explore this word some today, and it may not be exactly what you think it is.
So, Chuck, have you looked up what does it mean to be what is slavery?
So the word slavery there's a basically Slav or esclave, which is French, so Latin French. It's got that origin, and it goes back centuries and centuries when a lot of the Slavic countries, so the Yugoslav, that probably sounds familiar to a lot of people. Those folks were, for whatever reason, seemed to be this repetitively conquered folks. And a lot of those people were brought back to the countries that conquered them as what we would now consider slaves. That's where we get the word slave. And from there, obviously, it's taken on many forms. There, at some point, even some countries that we now know about in antiquity actually had more slaves than they did citizens. Rome became one of those countries, and there were a few other countries that ended up that way as well. And so this is something that's been around since, I'm going to be a little bit, silly here, but since the dawn of man. Whenever there is someone who has this idea that they can exercise a mastery over another person, and all of the techniques that came from that, most of which not good, but that's and hopefully we'll explore some of that today, and then some of the modern day consequences of a lot of the history of mankind dealing with all that.
So I got another question. I'm going to ask this of you, but also of our audience. The slavery topic is a big topic. Mm-hmm. And, America has a history with, slavery being a part of it, mm-hmm. Not a beautiful part of it at all. It's very ugly. And I want to say this before we go too far into this. I want to make sure everyone understands that we at Pursuit of Purpose are very much against slavery.
Absolutely.
Of all kinds. Because slavery denotes that someone is being forced to do something beyond their will.
Yes.
Without the aware choice of being a willing participant.
Yes.
Would you mind turning that off?
Yes.
So with that in mind, the question I have then is, who comes first? The slave or the master? Who comes first? And it's an important question to answer, because I don't think that it's necessarily what you might imagine.
I don't think so either.
And so many times we look at the slave as the oppressed person, and they are. Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong. But in order for them to become the slave, they had to be willing to begin with.
Yes.
They had to be manipulated or manipulate themselves and open their mind up to the concept of being a slave.
Right.
And that is a horrible, just a sad state of affairs.
Yes.
So with that in mind, what does it take to become a slave? What does it take mentally to give yourself over to the mindset of allowing someone else to dictate your life?
Right.
How does that begin?
And I think we have this idea that oftentimes it happens in dramatic fashion. I'm thinking of it differently, just from my research for today's show, that it actually happens in more gradual fashion. So if you have someone, we'll call them the master, if you will. So if you have a master and a slave, master and a servant, so that person has to follow, and they typically follow very similar patterns. They have to follow these patterns of a subjugation on what they want to be their slave.
Right.
The first thing they do is they create this atmosphere of deprivation. So imagine a conquered people back, I don't know, in the 11 or 1200s. And the first thing they do is they're taken from their comfort. They're deprived of their comfort, and now somebody else is in charge of that. They're deprived of food. They're deprived of all of these things unless somebody else decides to give it to them. They are now enslaved to a master to provide those needs. So that starts with deprivation, and then there becomes these experiences of wait. They just stand and they wait. They do nothing until they're told. And so any idea of thought, any idea of creativity that they probably had in their previous life, that's now been taken away. And they are waiting until they get an order. And then the last thing is they are then forced to do things against their will.
So the first step in becoming a slave is to kind of, I don't want to give everything away, but I guess I'm going to go ahead and do it. But it's to step into the realm of expecting someone else to be your source of provision, to become dependent.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as you become dependent, you give away your authority and you give away your creative ability.
Yes.
You submit to the rule of your provider.
Yes.
Because nothing's free.
No.
That's a fact.
That's right.
As soon as someone hands you something that is quote unquote free, there are strings attached to that.
Yes.
And you owe them then.
That's right.
And in modern times, there are places throughout the world that actual oppressive, violent, physical slavery still takes place.
Mm-hmm.
But in America, we have a different form of slavery, and it is a much more manipulative, much more secretive or subversive and covert form of slavery.
Yes.
And it's done in the form of political manipulation most of the time. That's how it's fashioned.
Right.
And that's how it's implemented. And I'm going to say this, and my personal political beliefs and outlook, perspective, however you want to say it, are a certain way. I am a constitutional conservative. Mm-hmm. Majority of the time that aligns with one party and less with the other. However, both parties are guilty of this.
Oh, yes.
Both of these two that we call our two-party system, both of them are guilty of this mind game. And in order for it to work, the sick part of that is the third party is the most guilty.
Yes.
And we are the third party.
Yes.
Because we submit to the manipulation that they throw at us.
Mm-hmm. That's right. So whether there is an enactment of commission or omission, whether you're the one doing it or you're the one that's not doing anything about it, you're now complicit. And that includes all three parties. So if someone finds themselves on the receiving end of the charity that you'll get what I want to give you when I want to give it to you.
Right.
Whatever that is, in the form of some type of public assistance or whatever it is, then as long as I am a willing participant, then I am now putting myself in a state of enslavement. And so if you want to get off the noun of slave and get on to the verb of enslavement, that's what it is. And it could be anything.
Right.
It could be a dependence. If there's anybody in our audience that has ever struggled with a dependency issue, whether it's a substance that you ingest or something you put in your mind, like say pornography or something like that, same thing. It's the exact same concept. And I think sometimes we get caught up in the historical references of this word of slave or enslavement, and we miss the actual mental process.
Right. So the way this is, the truth behind slavery is, in order for there to be a slave, the slave has to submit first.
Yes.
And that flies in the face of what we tend to like to believe.
Right.
And that holds true with all slavery in history.
Yes.
Like you can't force a human to be a slave until they have given up,
Right.
until they submit to the concept and construct of slavery. They won't be a slave.
That's right.
And go ahead.
Well, no, I was just saying, and there may have been times, say, throughout history, like I've read in biblical times, where someone would work as kind of like an indentured situation, but there would be a time frame that they would work their way out for various reasons. This is why here's one that's common to our Western world: debt. And so these people may take on debt and say, well, then you're going to work for your debtor until you pay that off, 7 years, let's say.
That's right.
So now I am enslaved to this confinement that I can't get out of.
And the interesting thing about that is, people might argue, well, I needed that. I had to have that debt. The truth is, you decided you wanted instant gratification for whatever it was that you wanted to buy. So you were willing to submit yourself to the slavery of debt
Yes.
to get it now, rather than live in the discipline of earning it and then paying for it in full.
Yes.
And that's something that we're all guilty of. I'm guilty of it, but it's also something we've been trained to do.
Mm-hmm.
In that concept, we've been trained to become financial slaves in that way. And we don't have to be.
No.
We can live free in that regard and in every other. We are learning and training up our children, generation after generation, to build upon this slavery mentality.
Right.
And so I've got some comments here. York's, thank you for your comment. It says, yeah, kind of like the Christian churches submitting to Israel and sending them their money. Well, I don't really know about that necessarily. I don't think that's slavery. Mm-hmm. You may not agree with Israel or Palestine or what have you, but that's not necessarily a form of slavery. Let's see what else we got going on here. Thank you guys for joining us. I'm seeing a lot of you join here on TikTok. We appreciate our audience. I see you on YouTube as well. Tasty T says it was a great breakdown, talking about the breakdown of slavery.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. And if any of you, let's see, we got somebody else here. Kelly Fapas, intention and personal responsibility is the determining factor. We are social and dependent. Well, we are social. And we are dependent and independent, interdependent, I guess is the best way to put that.
I think I don't know if this is where you're going. Thank you for your input. I think if we allow ourselves to develop a dependence, then yes, we've gone too far. Interdependence is fine, like coworkers. I mean, Rob and I work a lot together, so there's an interdependence on getting our pursuits as a business done. But there's still enough independence of thought and contribution and other work that we can do independently to contribute to the greater good. And so, but to be dependent, that's a disability. That's a willful disability.
So Larry says you guys never have more than 10 people on live. I don't know that that's true, Larry. You might be looking at one resource, but I mean, even if it was one person, I'd be happy. I'd talk to one person. It wouldn't bother me a bit.
With all due respect, Larry, we just sit here and talk to each other.
Yeah, I mean,
you're welcome to join.
Yeah, if Chuck wasn't even here, I'd probably talk to myself.
There you go. But nice try, Larry. Thank you, buddy.
And then we've got April Poe says laws rooted in Dodge versus Ford need to be repeated. Prioritizing shareholders over workers is slavery. Well, and can kind of see some of that argument. However, at the same time, those workers do actively make the choice to work there. And I'm not defending bad employment law or bad employer practices at all. Those are things that need to be changed. But at the same time, if we put up with it, who's really to blame?
Yeah.
Let's see. We've got some more.
One of the beautiful things about our country and other countries as well is if you are not happy in the course you're on, you can change course. While Rob was looking at some of those comments, I was listening to an excerpt from an interview with Richard Kiyosaki, who wrote the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, and
Robert Kiyosaki.
Yeah, and he wrote about his own father, who was a college professor, but he had what he calls the poor dad mentality. You must follow this pattern in order to have some sense of value in this world, and it was very academic. It had this very professional course that started with these go to college, assume the debt, and then work off the debt, and then get a job within that field and those sorts of things. But the rich dad was his friend's dad, who had a different mentality, which is this growth mentality. Take chances. What if we did this? What if we did that? And you can read the book and get more from it. But I really appreciated him referencing what would become this poor dad enslavement type mentality. And I appreciate his pushback on that. But he learned very early on, thank goodness he had those influences. I don't have to operate that way. I can operate differently.
So April Poe responded, and she said, too many feel like that's not an option. And therein lies the problem, April. You really pointed out something more profound than most people would realize.
Right.
They feel like, they believe.
Yes.
And that's the problem. We put ourselves in the place of slavery first in our mind.
Mm-hmm.
We accept it as true. We build it as a belief system. And then we build it into a construct of our reality and our perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And as such, we feel trapped. But the truth is we're not trapped.
No.
And any one of us
mm-hmm.
can shift that paradigm with the realization that there's a whole other universe out there,
right,
just beyond our thoughts. And that's all that has to change, is the thoughts we accept and dwell on versus the ones we don't.
Right.
And that sounds oversimplified, and maybe it is a little bit, but it's what happened to me. I was living my life in mental slavery for most of my youth. And I truly believed as a young man that I would get, and where we live in Southeast Texas, and we are an enormously petroleum-centered economy.
Mm-hmm.
And Chuck likes to say that you either work for the petroleum industry. He calls them the cloud makers, and a lot of people do. He said you either work for the petroleum industry or you work for an industry that supports that industry.
Right.
And people feel like they're trapped. In this area, that's what you do. You're either going to go work inside the plant, inside those fences and walls, or you're going to work for someone who supports that.
Right.
And that's not necessarily true.
That's right.
And what you're looking at through this portal that you see us on is actually living proof of that.
Mm-hmm.
We have decided to take our mentality and shift that paradigm purposefully. And in the pursuit of that purpose, we are now serving a much greater goal than just working for the petroleum industry or to support it.
Yes.
Now, we will support it. We will work with it,
mm-hmm.
but we're beyond that.
Yeah.
So Kelly Fapas says, we have been manipulated out of our normal cycle of big business, worker to business owner. Can you go a little further, Kelly? And then April Post says, wishful thinking is it will fall in your lap if you pray. Yes, that is true. Now, that is such a great thing that you bring up. I grew up in church, and I had a wonderful mentor and a pastor growing up. And, he taught us praying, he taught us about faith and having a Christian type belief system. And I still do. I am a believer in Christ. At the same time, faith without works is dead. If you're not willing to put yourself into action behind your faith, then you didn't earn the thing that you're praying for. So you don't deserve it.
Right. Well, and that works. Thank you for bringing that up. That works is actually your preparation to receive. So thank you for your prayerful biblical reference. And I'm going to reference the liberated Israelites as when they are leaving for the promised land. They're out in the wilderness, and the mentality of the original liberated wasn't going to cut it to basically inhabit the new land. They had to basically purge that generation while Moses and others prepared the younger generation to receive the promise. So there was a preparation period, and their parents played a role. They kept them healthy, they kept them moving, they kept them those sorts of things. But they basically, it was almost like a mentality that it was going to be almost too big for them to overcome. So they had to basically start all over with a new generation and train them well. So if you are preparing yourself, and there's details on that we're not going to go into today, that's when the blessing will arrive. If it arrived any sooner or any later, then we're not ready. And then that's typically where we waste.
So Sam says, "Oh, this is a Bible thing. Adult fairy tales are so weird." Well, we're not trying to push a belief system on anybody. The discussion for today is about slavery, and this has this is not a religious based discussion at all. I want to get that out there really clear.
Yeah.
We talk about whatever somebody comments, and we'll bring that up. The discussion of debt slavery, ask about financial freedom, and see, that's that is a huge part of this. Okay. And the concept, when I threw this out to be part of our discussion for today, one of the parts of the type of slavery that we're involved in modern America is 100% financial slavery.
Mm-hmm.
We are in a death spiral in this regard, that it's almost as though we feel like we can't get out of it.
Right.
And the ones that do get out of it, they find freedom. And here's the crazy thing is, the spiral starts at home.
Mm-hmm.
We teach our kids, and I just had a discussion with my daughter about this morning, and it was a fascinating discussion where she's young. She's 19 years old, and she's looking at some choices in life that are going to impact her forever, or at least her near future. And she's working to decide whether she's going to go in the military or get a job. One of those two choices. And we were talking about the pros and cons of those two choices. And part of the thing with getting a job is that you need a car. Well, if you get the car, then you get debt that goes along with the car, and then you get where you have to have the job to support the car that you needed to get to the job. So then you become a slave to the car.
That snowball is just building and
you're caught in this financial death spiral. And then as you drive the car just to go to work, you put wear and tear on the car.
Mm-hmm.
You have to pay for maintenance on the car. You have to buy insurance on the car. Then it becomes to where you're only working for the car.
Right.
When the car wasn't the goal anyway, it was supposed to be the means to the job. But that's the kind of thing we get ourselves in.
Right.
In modern America. We are so focused on the thing that it brings us slavery to the thing.
Right.
And we lose sight of the purpose of working in the first place. The purpose of you performing a task for trade for money or trade for time.
Mm-hmm.
The purpose of that is to increase your freedom.
Right.
Not to increase your enslavement to debt, not to increase your contribution to someone else's dream.
Not even necessarily to increase your revenue. That's just a consequence. It's in here. And so those that are referencing, when we reference these external references, I think we have an intellectual enough audience to know we're not here to talk about those things. We're here to talk about your personal development. And if you find yourself in a state of enslavement to debt or some other mentality, our challenge today, among other challenges, is to find a way to liberate yourself from that. Get your freedom back.
So one of our contributors on the show, one of our guests, April Poe 4020, she commented, that's why we see expensive cars in food lines. That's 100% correct, because they believe that car represents their identity. So that's what they work for. When they lose sight of the idea that the car is just going to deteriorate. There's nothing you can do that's going to make that car eternal.
Right.
The whole reason to earn an income, it's to create freedom so that you can build a legacy, something beyond yourself that is truly immortal and matters and make a difference as a contributing factor to other people's lives. Not just getting caught in this I don't know another way to call it, but death spiral.
Yes.
That is one of the most powerful and impactful
Right.
forms of slavery that the world has ever seen.
And what's dying there? What is in a rate of decay? And that is our own our healthy identity, which we're losing that every day because we're giving that over to whatever master that we now subjugate ourselves to. And then also our peace, our happiness, all the things that when we sit and visit with people, when you visit with your friends, or in our particular case, maybe we're visiting with one of our clients, at the end of the day, that's what they want.
Right.
They want some sense of the peace that comes from productivity. And when that gets impeded, we were just talking about this at a training last week, Rob. This lady was talking about there was a moment of frustration. I said, why was it frustrating? And we worked the conversation until finally we got her to conclude it was frustrating because there was an impediment. And sometimes that's just going to happen naturally. But our subject for today is, are we now putting impediments in our own way, like debt? And we do. I mean, I have debt right now and I hate it every day. And my goal is to get out of it. And I'm willing to live on less just for a little bit in order to have this greater liberation instead of just running up more problems. And I encourage our audience to have the courage to do the same, or at least counsel people to do the same. Maybe you're already doing that, and that's wonderful. But if you figured out a formula, share it, because more people need to be there. Otherwise, if you just wait for our influencers, which will be media and various other things like this, they're going to tell you, I mean, we have holiday season coming, plenty of opportunity to run up debt. Go to any store, and before you check out, they want to know if you want to have a card for their store. Why would we want that? Well, because we want, and we're not willing to wait or work.
So it's just a fascinating thing. And so here's another factor that April brought up earlier. She talked about the food lines, and I'm gonna segue from that into another area of slavery that's all related to this. I talked about when we started the show about the political manipulation of the American people, and how so many of our elected officials, once they get in office, they begin messaging. They begin this entire messaging process and game, and they use everything at their disposal to keep themselves in their position.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of being in the servant leadership position that they're designed to be in,
mm-hmm.
they become a self-perpetuator that becomes primarily concerned with maintaining their position.
Right.
And as such, they begin to appeal to the people by saying that they'll give away free stuff.
Mm.
And it doesn't matter which side of the aisle you focus on, both sides have their own version of this free stuff.
Mm-hmm.
While it all sounds great and good, and some of it is actually helpful to certain people at certain times.
Certainly.
The truth is that for the large majority, it's a pure manipulation.
Right.
It is a pure reduction and removal of your personal power and freedom. Because as soon as you submit yourself to living a lifestyle based on assistance,
Mm-hmm.
So like April said, you see that expensive car in the food line. So what they've done is they've taken their ability to earn and provide for themselves,
mm-hmm.
and they have decided that they don't need to focus that on the food provision that they're going to get from taxpayer money, but instead they're going to focus all of their earning potential on a vehicle.
Yes.
So then they put their sustenance requirements as their neighbor's responsibility.
Right.
But they think they're getting something for free. But in truth, they're a slave to a manipulation in a system that's going to require them to vote for the person who promised them that.
Yeah. So yeah, to keep this consumption going. But is it a legitimate consumption? Is it a legitimately consumed product? Because if I haven't worked for it, if it's been given to me, I'd like to know the legitimacy of it. And I'm talking about those situations where someone doesn't have an extraordinary situation.
That's right. So Sam says free stuff, and he said this 3 times, so he really is emphatic about it. Free stuff for people is objectively better than free stuff for wealthy people. Free stuff for poor people is objectively better than free stuff for wealthy people. Free stuff for poor people is objectively better than free stuff for wealthy people. And he says it, and then Kelly's, so Sam, the fascinating thing about that is wealthy people don't need free stuff. Wealthy people actually don't want free stuff. And here's the thing. People who are less than what you'd consider wealthy are not necessarily poor. I can tell you personally that I have been without. I have been homeless. I have lost everything to natural tragedy. I've experienced all sorts of lack in my life. And at no point in time was I in one of those positions. And I thought to myself, man, my neighbor owes me. Or man, my government is my salvation. At each one of those points in my life, now I will say this: I have received government assistance.
Sure.
And I'm not proud or ashamed of that. It just is.
It just is.
It happened. And when it happened, I was grateful for it. But the fastest thing I could desire to do, I wanted off of it. I didn't want to keep it. It made me sick that I was dependent on that. Because I'm not poor. I'm not poor in my mind. I'm not poor in my heart. And I'm not poor in my ability.
Right.
I am not poor. No matter what my circumstances are, I'm not a poor person.
Right.
So the wealth of a person is generated by the wealth that they possess inside of them. And when you decide to become wealthy, truly wealthy, it doesn't matter what the outer world sees. It matters what you believe about yourself. And if you become wealthy inside, those handouts will never be good enough.
Right.
Because all you are is a slave to them.
That's it. And so if you put yourself in that situation in a chronic way, at some point you are going to build a hatred for those that are seemingly stronger than you. You're going to feel weaker and they're going to seem stronger. And then it's almost like hating the government that's helping you. And everybody in our audience knows that there are folks who are on the receiving end of a lot of assistance, probably not for legitimate reasons, and they tend to poor mouth the very benefactors. Why would they do that? Well, we all know I can't give somebody something I don't have. So if I have disparaging ideas about my benefactor, that starts inside of me. That is a place of poverty. And I'm talking emotional and spiritual poverty. And so now I'm projecting that off. And here's the sad thing. Eventually, that's going to turn into a revenge. It has to. That's its inevitable conclusion. That's why our encouragement today is to seek wealth, not money wealth that may come. I'm talking about your own personal esteem.
So Sam says, let's see. Sam, where did it go? He said, this is anecdotal and we don't care. Well, bless your heart, Sam. You're still here. And then Sam says, let's see, Social Security and Medicare shouldn't be given to those who should be grateful for their blessings. Oh, that's April. Oh, she's talking to Sam. All right, I'm looking for you. Sam says something about Trump tax cuts. Sam, lots of wealthy people do want free stuff. That's why they vote for Republicans who give them tax cuts. Let's talk about that. This is a fascinating concept, Sam. What are taxes, first of all? Taxes are money that the government, supposed to be money that the government or takes from the people, supposed to be to maintain infrastructure, military, things like that. It's not supposed to be for handouts.
Yeah.
It was never designed that way. No successful society in existence, successful,
right,
has ever focused on handouts. As soon as that begins, the people become a slave. And the whole purpose of the handout is not to save the people.
Right.
It's to cripple the people and get the vote. That's the whole purpose.
That's it.
You don't have to like it or agree with it. This is just facts. And if you look throughout history at all civilized places, nations, the downfall has always begun this way. Always. with handouts,
Right.
with entitlement, because it only can be a cycle. It can't be permanent. And I love hearing people, it's fascinating to me hearing people argue that the reason socialism hasn't worked is it wasn't done right.
So I have a point I'd like to throw out there. Maybe Sam would like to comment, or others. So if you look around our society today, our American society today, and there are pockets of aggression, there are pockets of intense unrest, and of those people, what's the reason that you think that those people have concluded that that's the best way for them to behave? And is that coming from a place of need? Are they needing attention? Are they needing resources? Because it seems to me that in our country that we do have this overextended system of handing out that assistance, and we just saw an interruption of it because of a government shutdown. But that was obviously those were those political empowered who were fighting amongst themselves, and who paid the consequence for that? The people who found themselves in that situation, some legitimately, some illegit. Who are the aggressors, and why are they aggressive? I don't know. I'm fascinated by this sense of aggression, because if someone is going to behave aggressively, if they're going to go out and they're going to damage property, put people at risk, and other types of threatening behavior, who are they looking for? Aggressors look for weak people. And we think all aggression is physical. Not necessarily. It can be passive aggression. It can be basically lying to you, misleading you, and setting you up then to become on the enslaved end of a master-slave situation. Eventually, it's going to lead. It's just going to cycle. It's going to lead to revenge, and then the revengeful are just looking to be the stronger of the two.
So Zippy Top Tick 122, he says, well, then why give all the handouts to corporations and rich people? I'd like to know what you mean by that is, but I'm going to say something here. It's very important to understand. There is no such thing as something for free.
Right.
I don't care where it comes from. It's not free. There's a string attached to every part of it. And if it's to a wealthy person or a rich person or a corporation, or what you guys are categorizing as a needy person, either way it goes, no matter how you slice it, no matter where it comes from, there's a string tied to it. Mm-hmm. There is nothing free. Mm-hmm. So that's the problem. As soon as you accept it and then you begin to depend on it, mm-hmm. you become enslaved to the source.
And so I'll ask that particular person. I didn't catch the name, but Zippy. Are there people who have monetary wealth that got there by manipulating a system? Yes, of course they exist. Is that right? No. But are they any more manipulating than the people who are basically getting public benefits for no good reason because they won't go out and produce? So they're doing the same thing. So what you're seeing there is that someone has managed to manipulate the system maybe a little bit more as far as accountable finances are concerned. So my challenge, or our challenge to you and others, is to push back from that, to be your own best master and servant situation and say, I'm not going to subject myself to that.
So Sam says, let me pull it up here. We all benefit from more people having what they need. Wake up. Now, Sam, I'm going to tell you something, and you may not like it. I'm going to talk directly to you, Sam. The fact is that we all benefit when more people earn what they need.
Yes. Not just have it, earn it. Because until you earn it, until we earn it, we don't respect it. And until we respect it, we don't own it. So isn't earning the best way of having? Would you argue with that? Do you really want something you didn't earn? I mean, is that the truth? Is that how you believe life should be? Does somebody owe you something, Sam? Were you done wrong? Are you a victim? Because that's the victim's mantle. Yes, I'm owed because I am. Fill in the blank. I'm not defending a system. And Sam says that's not the reality, though, because of the systematic cycle that occurs in society. And that's what we're talking about. Exactly. That's the exact, the subject matter of this discussion is that the system of giving unearned
quote unquote entitlements to people is a system of slavery.
That's right.
It's a system of becoming dependent and owing someone something that you didn't earn.
Thank you, Sam.
That was perfect. You
That
actually you joined right in on the point, and that was a great tail end of that argument.
Mm-hmm.
And then Kelly Fapa says taking responsibility includes holding others responsible too, not just allowing manipulation to occur. That's fact.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's see. Sarah Christopher, agree with Sam. People are out there trying, and the cost of living is so high. And then Sam says, so we need to help people out of that cycle by giving to them. No, the only thing you can give to them is the resource to learn to free themselves. You don't give them the stuff.
Right.
You don't give them money. You give them independence by teaching them first how to think, then how to do, then they learn how to earn. That's freedom.
Right.
That's how to break the cycle. You don't give them money or stuff
No.
to give them freedom. Stuff and money just regenerates more slavery.
I mean, I know it's an age-old adage, but you can give a fish or teach them to fish. And that has never been disputed. When you teach somebody how to provide for themselves and the folks that they care about, they have all of the byproducts. They have dignity, they have self-respect, and that is the legacy we want them to perpetuate. Unfortunately, because of some very greedy people who wanted to be those at the top, have created this dependent mentality in our country, and now that is now a legacy. They are now passing that on to generations. And if you don't think that's true, you can sit and talk to folks who young people, we're talking teenagers who already have it in their mind what they're going to do next. And it is going to be basically to get right into the stream that they grew up in. Few break that cycle. And when they do, they're trying their best to get the word out. You don't have to be enslaved to the system.
Sam says, you couldn't read the whole comment because your whole argument would fall flat. Let me join. Oh, sure. How do I do that? Let's see here. How do I join in, Sam? I don't really. Let's see here. You requested, I don't see it. Try again. Now y'all have to forgive us. We've been doing live cast for a while, and we're relatively new to TikTok. We've done this a handful of times now. So Sam, I'd love it if you'd hit the whatever it is that you do, and I'll happily accept it if I see it. Let's see if I. Oh, here we go. Oh, I saw it and then it went away. There you are. All right, there you are. I have accepted it, Sam. I can't hear you.
Okay, so
there you are.
When we give, either way, so let's go back to what I said before. Either way, the only way to win an election for someone to get elected is to offer things to people.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that
feels
part.
like they're going to get more from the candidate, that's who they're going to vote for, right?
That's that slave mentality. That's the exact thing we're talking about.
But that's the reality of today's society, correct?
That's the purpose of the show.
That's the reality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and our argument is that it's horribly bad.
Yeah, so when the options are to basically give to people who don't need it or give to people who need it, and we give to people who don't need it, all that does is keep the cycle of needy going. They never get out of it.
What if we just stop giving to people out of a sense of entitlement and help people learn to earn? What if we did that? That's the argument that I make.
Mm-hmm.
I mean that's fair, but like that's kind of utopian. We need to I understand that that's the ideal, but in order to get there, we need to be realistic about how.
But we're perpetuating a perverted system right now. Mm-hmm. And if we continue to behave the way that we are, like you're saying, give it to somebody, mm-hmm. then we're not making anything better.
So you're saying education is
no, I'm saying
we need to educate people, right?
Education comes from within. I'm saying teach people how to think, not just education.
Is that in schools?
No, mm-hmm. No. This starts at home.
Okay, well, what about when people are in homes where they were brought up in this cycle where they never learned how to think?
That's exactly what we're talking about.
And then the home, yeah. So how do we break? That's what I'm saying. You're saying you're using circular reasoning. You're like, it needs to start at home. Well, what about
It has to.
who have never had it at home? How do we get it into those homes?
We're doing it right now. This
Right.
discussion, this is how we do it.
Right.
We have talks like this until we get enough people and we start a movement.
Mhm.
That's how anything changes. The law doesn't make it change. The government doesn't make it change. The people
That's
make the
ridiculous.
change.
That's so naive and stupid.
That's how you're. That's how you exist right now in this nation with the
Mhm.
privileges and rights and conveniences that you have was because enough people started a movement. In fact, that's
because I'm a white person who was born to like middle class parents in the Midwest.
What
I was
difference does it
born
make
in
what color you
a
are?
Struggle, and neither were either of you.
you have no idea where I was born or what I'm made of or any of my origin. But thank you for your assumptive behavior and pointing it out to everyone, making it really clear. The point is that
You can
this.
tell me how I'm wrong if I am.
I'm a mix of 4 different origins, and I'm
Where did you grow up?
What do you mean? I grew up in. I moved 11 times as a child. I lived in the south end of a city called Beaumont. You can look it up for yourself. I was
What part of the country? What state?
Texas, Southeast Texas.
What do your parents do for a living?
My parents, my dad lost his job in 1984 or 82. We were homeless. I was adopted. What else would you like to know? I didn't come from privilege. We didn't have any money. We were on government assistance when I was a kid.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Socialism for me, but not for thee.
No, we didn't have a choice. We lost everything.
None of these. You think these people have?
But the first thing that we did as soon as we could,
Assistants have a choice.
absolutely, we had a choice to get off of it as soon as we could. We didn't make a lifestyle of it, and that's the challenge.
I think you like have good intentions without like realistic.
See, the difference is that I've lived this life. I've been there. I've been on the assistance and off the assistance. I've lost everything in a hurricane. I had a huge life before we had everything paid for, and then we had to go into enormous debt to recover. And it was our fault. I wasn't the victim of society.
Your fault.
No, the fact that I went into debt afterwards was my fault. That was a choice. I didn't have to make it, but I did. And that was a failure on my part. I did. I made the choice. I made the choice to get into the cycle of debt. Now I've been working my way out of it, but that's a choice. Nobody forced me to do it. Nobody pushed me. Nobody convinced me. I did it to myself because I believed it was what I needed to do to keep up with where I was before.
Yeah, that's why the government should step up and help people.
No, the government can't help you. You're only depending on your community. That money is not the government's money. They stole it from everybody else. It didn't come from some magical resource somewhere that just poofed into existence.
No, it came from taxes because
Exactly.
everybody benefits when more people in society have what they need.
No, everybody benefits when you earn it. You don't benefit when you get anything for free. You never will. You'll never have anything until you earn it. You will never own it until you earn it. That's how freedom works.
Sam, if I was to give you a free Dr. Pepper, I don't know what your favorite soda may be. If I give you a free Dr. Pepper and I said, "Here you go, man," you go, "What? Oh, nothing, man. You can have it. It's all good." Would you feel more inclined to finish it, or if you only drank it halfway, you'd be like, "I mean, I got it for free." You know, where would you stand on something like that?
I don't think that would have any like determination in whether or not I was inclined to finish it because it's one soda that is like not very valuable.
No,
Okay.
it is. I'm using an analogy here.
Whether it was gifted to me or not, well, it's not a very good analogy then. So give me a better one.
Why do people that win the lottery end up worse off than they were before they won it?
Because they don't know how to manage money.
Because they didn't earn it. That's the 100%. That's the only reason they didn't earn it. So they don't know.
They don't know how to manage money.
Then how do you learn to manage it? You're saying the same thing.
How do
I would use it to hire somebody, but
Okay.
to manage it for me, like a financial planner. But also, I grew up in a place that has one of the highest rated public school systems in the U.S.
So you grew up in
that serves
privilege?
me well.
You grew up in privilege, Sam.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I advocate for people who don't have what I did.
Okay, so you are then behaving
Instead of
in
telling
this.
them to just pick themselves up by their bootstraps and get out of it.
Sam, you're exemplifying white guilt. It
There you
sounds
go.
like.
What do you tell them, Sam?
I ask them what they need and I believe them from their perspective instead of telling them I know better than they do what they need.
How do you encourage them to get what they need?
I ask them what they need and then I look for available resources to help in those areas.
Resources such as?
Government assistance programs, city missions, food banks, etc.
So some are basically the benefactors, like people like us who now have some level of means that donate. And then some are the government, which that's not a donation, that's taken against our will. Would you agree with that?
No.
You don't think taxes are taken against our will?
Well, I mean, they may be against your will, but I don't think it's theft.
Okay.
Okay. So if I don't pay my taxes, what will happen to me consequentially?
Probably depends on how much money you make. If you don't make that much money and you don't owe the government that much money, probably nothing. You'll probably fly under the radar.
Is there? Well, that's wishful thinking, I suppose. But if I don't pay, if I don't pay,
to pay people to come after little low level people who owe the government $2,000.
okay, are there
It
laws?
would cost them more to track that down.
Well,
So no,
okay,
that's
we can go.
that's
In,
reality.
we can get caught into those details, but are there laws against
Oh, yeah.
those who
Let's just
pay?
pretend the details aren't what they are, so I can make.
Are there laws against people who don't pay their taxes? Yes or no?
Yeah, there are laws.
Then that's it. You don't have to give a disclaimer. That is the fact. Now, they may not bother with me because maybe there are bigger fish to fry, but that's besides the point. The point is, I don't want to be consequential to those laws, but I don't even want those laws to exist.
So Murph's dad left a comment and he says, do you want to live in a society with services and things like roads? Yeah, that's what we actually started talking about earlier. Murph's dad, you might have missed it, that the system of taxation was implemented to support government infrastructure, which in modern times that would be roadways and things like that, and our military, our borders. That's what taxes are intended to support. It's been perverted and implemented as a system to mentally enslave a large part of society so that they no longer believe that they are required to earn their things or their money.
Right.
And
That's your perception of how it works. That's not why it was implemented. Let's not twist.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Can you prove that?
I mean, have you read anything about the establishment of the National Bank?
Yeah, I've read about the establishment of the National Bank. I've also read about the establishment of Social Security and how it was formed. And I can tell you that it is a perversion of how it was formed. We were never intended to have individual Social Security numbers, but you've got one. You've got one so that you can be controlled. You've got one so that you personally have to pay federal taxes. That wasn't what it was designed for in the first place.
You're simultaneously advocating for strong borders and not keeping track of who is born here and citizens. Like, which do you want, bro?
I don't understand what you just said.
Do you want the government to keep track of who is born here and are U.S. citizens, or do you want us to, or does it not matter? Because if it doesn't matter, we have no reason to have, for anything at the border, have borders at all, really.
So, you're a person who believes in no borders?
Well, I'm just saying, since you just said the point of taxes was to fund the military and protect the border.
It is. 100%.
Yeah. So protect the border from what? If we don't even need to have Social Security numbers and the government doesn't even need to know who's born here, why do we need borders?
What's that? I don't understand the born here argument. That was a really strange thing that you brought that up. The point of Social Security was for businesses to pay taxes on profit. That's how it was designed.
Social Security benefits. You're conflating.
No, it wasn't about Social Security benefits.
And the government, each individual having a Social Security number.
Okay, so I think there's some confusion. You're trying to tie things together that I can't see the correlation. Let's see.
Yeah, I think you should probably do some more reading.
So here's a question for you, Sam, but as we're getting kind of close to the end of our time. So which one of these scenarios do you think has its more ideal conclusion? This perpetual, basically social propping up of people by just strictly just giving them what they need. They need it, give it to them, no questions asked. Or what you seem to be also proposing, which is this system of teaching people, helping them, encouraging them, helping them grow. Which one seems like it's going to have the best outcome?
Services that are designed to do that,
Okay.
like the Democrats want to do.
Okay.
Yes,
Do you think that's best done through government or best done through private entity?
best done through government because
Okay.
individuals are too selfish. It won't happen if there's not an overall body.
Well, actually, you just said you do take
Individuals are
people.
too selfish.
Individuals are too selfish, but you just said you take people to actually community contributed organizations, which are basically food banks and places like that. Didn't you tell us you take people to those things?
That are funded with government assistance. Yeah.
So, but I thought you said you take them to also private funded things, like a church.
I don't think I ever said private funded. I said
Okay.
nonprofit.
So-
I guess nonprofits would be not private funded.
Yes. Okay. So you do take people to private funded things.
Yeah, it's just like the reality is that we can't fix it. We can't fix it with only private funded things.
Well, we think so.
Because if we could, the private funded things that already exist would be funded more and it would be fixed, and it's not. So
Sam, you believe that the government is the answer. Is that correct?
yeah, I think that the government system needs fixed, but yes.
Okay. So the government is essentially,
The government should be used as a better tool than we're currently using it as.
wait, but the government can't be used as a tool if the government is the answer. If the government is the answer, you're the tool.
I mean, I think that's kind of semantical, but for sure.
So you also believe that we should have no borders, or at least open borders. Is that correct?
I think there should be a way easier path to amnesty. Basically, if you come here and you want to live here, if you don't have a record, you should be able to.
Oh, so it's based on records. So the illegal immigrants that come here to do harm to us that don't have a record, they're okay.
I mean,
So Sam, I'm going to challenge you to do something real quick.
We're supposed to assume anyone that wants to come here wants to cause harm. No, that's just kind of an unfortunate reality of the human nature. Not we're going to make mistakes in some places, but yes, it is better generally for people to achieve amnesty if they aren't already criminals and they want it.
Okay.
That's what America was founded on being, a melting pot.
Okay, great. And I don't disagree with that at all. I say if you come here right.
Mhm.
We want you.
Yes.
But the right way isn't realistic.
Oh, okay. So Sam, I'd like you to
It
do
takes way
something.
too long and it costs way too much.
Since that's how you believe, and I'm okay with that, and I'm gonna give an endorsement to your belief system and to your argument there. I would like to challenge you to go ahead and put your address and phone number out for all those illegal aliens who need a place to stay, and you're going to provide for them room, board, and everything else that they need, because you don't need borders. Do you have a door on your house?
You can, yeah,
You have a door on it. Do you keep it closed?
yeah.
Oh, so that's a border. See, that's a legal border.
You can
Do you want to open that door?
direct anyone to DM me and I can
No. We need it to be open, Sam. We need it to be open. People need to know where to go. These people can't speak English, so go ahead and put your address out there in numbers.
So I know people who can translate too. So have them message me and I'll connect them with any resources that I have available.
But you're going to let them come to your house, right? Because you don't need borders. You don't need borders.
Why does it matter how I'm helping them?
Well, are you that selfish that you won't provide room and board in your home? You want everybody else to be responsible for it, but you won't take part in it?
I didn't say that.
Well, you're not getting it. You said you keep your door closed on your house.
Yeah, that doesn't mean I never let anybody in.
But you have to let everybody in. You can't have a closed door. You have to let, in fact, well, why not? If the country,
When did I ever say everybody? Did I ever say everybody, or are you strawmanning?
you said the nation shouldn't have borders.
Didn't I say there should be an easier and cheaper path to amnesty for people who don't already have a criminal record? Isn't that exactly what I said?
But do we let
That
them?
you're trying to
how do
receive
you-
something else to argue against? That's what a straw man is. That's a logical fallacy. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah, I've heard
It's,
of that.
it's really
Where-
weak.
where
It's
does-
really weak.
Where does that application begin, Sam? Does it begin on their side of the border or on our side of the border?
I think the application begins like at the beginning of their life, but according to our laws. Like if something would be illegal to do here, then I think that's valid reason to like not grant someone amnesty if they've done it somewhere else.
Okay, so you're saying it should start on their side of the border.
Yeah, that's what I said. If they haven't
Okay.
already committed
Okay.
a crime.
Okay, so
And then your little buddy here had to pretend that's not what I said to argue against whatever he made up to pretend he won when he didn't really have a point.
no, I think the point is that we've allowed people to come inside of our homes first and live off of our couch and dig in our refrigerators and then we'll work on their amnesty, as you say, or other levels of citizenship. I believe we're proposing to start on their side of the border, not ours.
Yeah, the sad fact is, Sam, that they're here illegally. They've already broken the law, so they've proven they have no respect for our border. They've proven they have no respect for our law. They've proven they have no respect for our society. And then we have too many of our own. We have too many of our own being murdered, destroyed, killed, innocent people, elderly people, children, people who are immigrating here properly, like Irina Zaruska, people who are breaking no other laws, just existing and working through their American freedoms in life. And illegal immigrants are coming here and killing them. So you're wanting to assume, it's
a civil violation. So it depends on how they got here.
So you're wanting to assume that someone who has already broken the law about being here illegally is justified in saying. You said you wanted a fast pass to amnesty.
That's where you're misstepping, though. I'm
Explain.
genuine discussion here. So let me
A fast pass to amnesty is not a genuine discussion.
When you say somebody has already broken the law by being here illegally,
They have.
that's not necessarily true, because if I believe what you're saying is all people who are here and undocumented are illegal or have committed a crime, and overstaying a visa
Is a crime.
is not
Is a
committing
crime.
It's a civil violation.
Like a civil violation is a crime. You're playing semantics.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it
There's
is.
a difference between civil court and criminal court.
Yeah, there is a difference.
Read
That's
my
right.
book, bro.
I don't have to use profanity, and I can talk to you in a civil tone. I'm sorry I'm sorry you're such an angry person.
Isn't reality to try and make a point?
I'm not pretending. You just made the point that a civil violation is a law infraction. They're the
No, I
same.
didn't. I said it's not a crime. It's
It is a
civil
crime.
violation.
That's what a civil violation is. When you violate a
Google
judge's
it, bro. Google it right now. I know you have a screen in front of you.
a
Google
civil
it.
violation
Is a civil violation
is a court order. Yeah, it's a crime. 100%.
You can say that as much as you want. It doesn't.
It's a
make it
fact.
reality.
It's a fact. It's a crime. It doesn't matter what either of us say. It's just the truth. I'm sorry you're so angry, Sam. Oh, Sam paused. Well, guys, we really appreciate
Because you can't be honest. It's insane. It would take 3 seconds for you to Google, is a civil violation a crime?
when I present to you the truth or a fact, it's not up to me to prove myself wrong. It's up to you if you disagree. I'm giving you the truth, and nobody in the feed.
I can't show a screen right now. But do you want me to read what Google says to you?
Sure. Google's your source of truth.
I'm already right, and you're not believing me.
Watch this. You ready? Can you see this?
Is a civil violation a crime?
Hey,
Go
Siri.
Google.
Hey Siri, is a civil violation a crime? Oh, it's not picking it up. Hold on, let me open it. Hey Siri, is a civil violation a crime? it's not. I wanted to talk out loud.
Sam, I'm going to leave you out of this conversation. Thank you for participating. Yes, we're probably not on the same page, but we do appreciate you putting your passion into this.
Well, yeah, because you decide whatever reality you want to be true is the truth, and that's not how it works. We're seeing an example of it right here. Just Google it. Is a civil violation a crime?
While a civil infraction may not go on your criminal record, it can still have negative consequences. For example, if you are cited for a traffic violation, it could result in points being added to your driving record. It explains it right here.
Where does it say yes, it's a crime? It says, well, it does not go on your criminal record because it's not a crime.
But it doesn't say that. And I really appreciate your passion, Sam.
Yeah.
And I also appreciate that
Does
you're
it
willing
say
to.
it goes on your criminal record?
It says it does. It may not. It doesn't say it does or it doesn't. It says it may not. But-
It says, while it may not go on a criminal record, it kind of seems like it is one because of these other similar effects that can happen if you have a civil violation. But that doesn't make it a crime.
Well, I can appreciate
Right?
that you. I'm not going to concede that that's correct because it's
Yeah,
not.
exactly. You can't even be honest enough to deal in reality.
I'm dealing in 100% reality.
You're
And-
not. It's not a crime, and you can't admit that.
Okay.
Google
Thank you,
just
Sam.
fucking told you.
I bless your heart, Sam, and I hope that you have a wonderful day. And I hope you learn how to have civil discourse without profanity at some point.
Well,
But-
you need to be honest, dude. You're literally reading the answer and still disagreeing. It's so insane. Look
So
at the chat. Can you read the chat?
post it. Post
This
it.
is disingenuous. He is right. Me.
Post it,
They don't
Sam.
understand definitions. Figured out their problem. Yeah, bro. You need to learn what the hell you're talking about.
So here's what I'll say, Sam.
Just because you want it to be a crime to make your point, that's not the reality. Which means your point falls flat. So you gotta
Okay.
keep reading to try again.
Okay. So I'm going to let you continue on feeling the way you do.
Decorum,
And we'll-
last sign of a desperate argument. You have nothing, so you just want to call out my behavior. It's stupid and weak.
Well, like I said, I really appreciate you being here, Sam. I really appreciate it, and I would invite you to go ahead and if you want to post the whatever you found in the chat, or any of you would like to do that, I would invite you to do so.
You can see it. You're looking at your screen. Read it.
I read it. I read it word for word. It's Sam. I'm not a lawyer, and I don't claim to be.
That's what
I
I'm
was-
saying.
I was, however, in law enforcement.
Pretending you know so much. Like, be willing to learn. Have some humility.
Can you see behind me?
No.
Okay. Well, over there on the shelf is a collection of memorabilia and things that I collected over years and years of being in law enforcement. And there are two different forms of law enforcement. There's civil law enforcement and criminal law enforcement.
You were not in law enforcement if you think a civil violation is a crime.
Okay. Bless your heart, Sam. So
Yeah.
the truth is that it is a crime. And I don't care what you say or whatever.
It's not what I say. It's what the
It is
law
enforceable.
says.
It is enforceable. Is a judge's order enforceable?
Enforcement of what?
Is a judge's order able to be enforced by a law enforcement agent
It depends
on?
what the order is.
So then what you're saying is that everything that's going on in our nation right now, you're saying that the detainment or arrest of immigrants who are here illegally is illegal.
Some of them are, yeah. It depends on why they're being arrested. Are they being arrested because they have brown skin and an ICE agent thinks they might be illegal? Yeah, that's illegal.
So
Are they
what
being
I'm-
arrested because there's a warrant for their arrest because they were seen crossing the border illegally? Then no, that's not illegal.
Okay, so if they were seen crossing the border illegally, based on your argument, their only infraction is a civil infraction. Is that correct?
I believe crossing the border at a non-point of entry is a crime. but overstaying a visa is just a civil
Okay.
violation.
So
'Cause
why
there's a
would someone,
difference.
I'm going to
And
ask you
look it up
this.
so we can admit, since we're honest, intellectual people, that there is a difference.
So let's do this. Why would someone who had
So
overstayed their
if you would
visa,
reduce your argument to just people who cross the border,
well, let's talk, I'm going to,
point of entry, you can.
I'm
but it
talking
makes
with you
it
about-
really weak.
I'm talking about people, just like you mentioned, people who overstayed their visa.
No crime committed.
Okay, so if they overstayed their visa,
Not because I said it, because the law said it. That's what the law is.
are you ready for me to ask the question I have?
Well, I just want to make sure that we're not going to presuppose whatever reality you made up that's not the truth. So I want to make sure we're clear that you're asking the question you're about to ask from the premise of overstaying a visa does not make you a criminal.
What is the
Go.
purpose that someone has for not renewing, extending, or leaving when their visa is expired?
Money, access,
Okay.
could be a plethora of things.
Okay. So then, if they have an expired visa, what then should be done with them?
It depends. If they're like contributing to society, they should get amnesty so they can be a citizen, pay taxes, vote, have representation, since they're already paying taxes if they're here on a visa anyway.
Okay. So this is the measurement that you'll go by. The visa thing is the argument for you. Now, are you
That's really generic. Like, you're putting words in my mouth by making a really generic statement that I don't know what you're meaning. I need you to
what's what you
articulate
entered into this conversation with? You stood on the hill of an expired visa being worth the argument.
Well, I just said
This conversation was
because it's a
intended.
fact.
This conversation was started about the slavery concept that has a foothold in our society. It had actually very little, if anything, nothing to do with what you brought into it, but you saw an opportunity. So we're talking about that now. And you
Yeah.
brought up the visa element, not me. I had nothing to do with it.
Because
But
it-
that's your argument.
principles and where what you were saying lacks principle.
It
But
didn't have anything to do with what I was saying. But why can't people obey, uphold, and submit to the laws of this land? What makes them more important than us?
what?
What puts them as priority over citizens who do follow our laws?
I didn't say they had priority.
But if you grant them entitlements or gifts or free stuff when it could have been going to our needy,
Do you mean amnesty? Or
no,
do you mean like
we were talking about government provisions.
Okay, so we're running away from the civil criminal.
I'm saying that I don't agree with you. Okay, it doesn't matter. We're not running away from anything. We're not getting anywhere with it.
Because
So the
you
truth
are-
is that you took a diversion. You ran us down a rabbit trail that was unrelated. You made that choice, and I went with you on it. I made that choice, but it's still unrelated to the topic at hand. We were talking about slavery, the concept of modern slavery.
Yeah.
That's what we were talking about. That's the whole purpose of this show. It had nothing to do with people's extended visas or immigration or any of it. You brought that up. What's that got to do with this?
I mean, the conversation naturally flowed to there as it continued.
It's natural if you had that.
It deflected and brought something else up irrelevant to avoid the point. But
It seems like it naturally flowed that way because you had an agenda, Sam. You don't have to.
I mean, all I did was respond to the things that you were saying. But okay.
I didn't talk about immigration. You did.
So
I didn't. You brought that up.
You are the one who said our taxes are supposed to support strong borders.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's got nothing to do with people overstaying their visa. You're saying exactly what I'm saying.
Those are hollow words because we know you don't really care about strong borders.
Oh, really? Where do you live, Sam? What area of the country? I'm not asking for your address. What area?
Midwest.
Midwest?
The real Midwest, Great Plains.
Oh, okay. So you don't actually live in a place that borders any other nation.
No, I don't.
Ah, okay. Yeah. Well, Florida doesn't border another nation. It borders the Gulf of America and the Atlantic Ocean. So here in Texas, we actually deal with actual day-to-day border issues. Now, back to the real topic at hand, we were talking about the debt spiral and the enslavement of American people. Now, you did have some things to discuss on that, and I don't know what diverted you from it, but you were talking about how people were inheriting this thought process from an early age, and they didn't have the tools to develop because of what they grew up in. You remember that?
Yeah, which was why we need to put money into services that helps them out of those cycles, not give tax breaks to rich people who already have everything they need.
And I don't believe in, I'm not hanging anything on tax breaks or anything. What I personally believe in, and this is me, and everybody doesn't have to agree with it, but what I believe in is teaching people to earn their way, teaching people to become independent and create freedom for themselves. Do you agree with that, Sam?
Yeah, so how do we do that?
Well, the most successful way that I have found is to challenge that paradigm of free stuff, to help people understand that there isn't anything that's free.
I think the best way we do that is to invest in public education that people can receive without paying for it.
And I don't disagree with you about the public education thing. Actually, my wife is a 5th grade teacher. As long as we
public school,
yes, as long as we help these kids actually learn and we stop focusing on test scores as a way of funding. And that's the problem. The big fallacy with public school at this point is that teachers are trapped in a cycle of teaching to a test at different phases throughout the schooling. That's all they have. And it's an unfortunate thing because I can see how it happened. I can see how it developed because the federal government and the state government subsidize schools, right? They provide funding. Well, the problem is,
you don't think they should be.
Oh no, I didn't say that. That's part of the infrastructure. No, that's part of the infrastructure. I actually agree with public education.
Come on, dude. They fund more than just the buildings. It's not all infrastructure.
Education is infrastructure. It's a part of infrastructure for our society. So, I agree with that. I think it's something that we as a society should support and build. And I think it would be wise of us to focus on the true education rather than just a test number or an aggregate of test numbers.
So why are we cutting? So this is, I guess, what I mean. If that's the case, then we should be electing people who want to put money into schools to help these kids, and make them better, not cut that funding so we can give tax breaks to people who already have what they need and more.
Well,
right?
I think we're saying very similar things. The thing that we hope that would happen is that we would reduce the size of the bureaucratic system that we have in place so that the funding can actually go into the education process for these kids. The problem that we have right now is, I don't know the ratio.
So what you're saying is hope, instead of paying money in taxes, hope that people as individuals do the right thing and put that money instead into local organizations and school systems so that
I never
can
said
break
that.
these cycles.
I never said that. I never. That wasn't even close to what I said.
Do it.
I said reduce the size of the bureaucracy and focus on the actual education. Right now, what we have, the problem, what I was trying to illustrate, and you kind of interrupted me a little bit there, Sam, was that currently
your point just doesn't have very much of a foundation.
How would you know? I can't make it.
Words.
How would you know? I haven't been able to talk. I'll wait on you to give me a break, and then I'll finish. Are you ready?
Go ahead.
All right. So right now, in an education system like here in Texas, there are X number of bureaucrats per every one teacher. And what I mean by that is not just at the local level, at the state level, you might have 10 to 12 people in a building in Austin versus one teacher. And that, like, you might have, let's say we have, I don't know, I'm just guessing because I have no idea what the real numbers are. But let's say that you had 100,000 teachers in Texas. Okay.
Let me make up an example I know nothing about to try and make a point.
Well, you can look it up. I know that the proportions are similar. Anyone in the audience can look this up. And anyone who's involved in the education system can easily argue or verify what I'm saying, whether I'm crazy or not. But my wife's a teacher, so I mean, I'm involved in it every day. But the point is, you have all these bureaucrats setting all the rules for what's going to happen. And then you have lobbyists always trying to get their stuff involved or bought from the education system. The tax money is not actually being used to educate the kids. It's being funneled in every other direction as a source of profit for all these companies that are doing business with the bureaucratic system. We need to streamline. We need to figure out where the fraud and waste is and make this about the kids instead of about the businesses.
The fraud and waste is giving tax breaks to people who don't need them. That's the waste.
Okay.
Right there.
So,
Fraud right there.
so let's reduce the taxes so there's not as many tax breaks. Let's streamline the bureaucracy. Let's reduce the size of government and make it about the kids. Would you agree with that?
How do we pull the kids who are already stuck in the cycle out of it?
That's a wonderful question. And it's one of the most difficult things that I've ever worked to
Without
address.
any bureaucracy.
Well, the less bureaucracy you have, the more effective you're going to be required to
Here's
be.
the deal. You know who's going to get helped if we do that? You know who's going to get helped way more? The blue states, the people who don't care about rich people like Republicans and conservatives seem to. The blue states are the donor states. They pay way more into the federal government than they take, so that the red states, who take way more than they give, have better services and better schools and better roads and better all these things. If you want to cut out the federal bureaucracy, the blue states will thrive and the red states will succumb.
Okay. So how's the education in Illinois?
That's right.
How's the education in Illinois? How's the education in Michigan? How's the education in New York? How's the education system in Jersey?
Yeah, pretty good.
No, actually.
You want to look it up?
Yeah, go ahead. By all means, look at it.
Okay.
But what you're going to be looking up, no, I don't, I'm going to let you do that. But what you're going to be looking up is their test scores. You're going to be looking at the aggregate of test scores because that's what they put as the value.
So just according to what you think makes a system a good school system, in your rankings, in your head, New York and Jersey are all really bad.
So what I put out as the value of an education system is the value of the productivity of the people leaving it. The people who are leaving out of it, are they becoming contributing members of society? Are they creating wealth for themselves? Are they contributing to their community? Are they becoming workers? Are they becoming inventors? Are they becoming doers? Or are they becoming slaves to an entitled mindset and an entitlement system? Is that what they're doing? Which one are they doing?
Per capita, is it like red states or blue states who have more people like on government assistance?
Oh, that's a great question. I think you should look that up.
You don't already know?
I'm going to let you look it up.
I know.
Oh,
Answer.
well, please educate us.
Red states have way more people on government assistance than blue states do.
And how long's that been?
You can't compare something like New York to Mississippi, like number to number, because the populations are very, very different. But if you look per capita, yeah, it's the conservative states who have people who need way more welfare than the Democratic ones.
Is it?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
You know what else happens?
Wait, answer my question before you move on.
I'm not moving on. I'm not moving on.
Did you not know that?
Sam?
Did you not know that? Yes or no? Quit deflecting.
Where do the people who are on the system come from in the red states?
The red states.
No, I'm sorry, that's incorrect.
You're simply silly.
I guess I'll take that as a compliment, Sam. But we have currently an importation
Look at this.
exportation system.
I love the comments. You're losing this argument to a very well versed young man. Yeah, exactly.
Who said that? Another blue state person?
I don't know. I'm not a blue state person, by the way. I live in a red state.
Okay. But you seem to admire them so much.
I just I can look at the facts and like call a spade instead of trying to make whatever I want fit my fantasy in my head that I want to be reality.
Well, you asked me, what do I look at as the measure for a successful education system? And I answered it. And then you went off talking about people being on the dole.
Well, you answered it, but you kind of said whatever. You didn't really give any, hard measurables. You just gave anecdotal what you think.
Well, that's what you asked me. You asked me what would I use as a measure for a successful education system. What else am I supposed to tell you?
So you have to have some sort of measurable system, not just
Then tell me what states. What states
are a measurable system. Do you have something better than test scores?
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
Okay, what?
How about economy?
What are the data points that we
How about economy?
Better test scores?
How about economy?
Economy, yeah. What states have the largest economies?
Look it up. Who has the largest profit margins? What states have the largest profit margins of their economies?
We can look that up after we.
Well, that's a great measurement. And then look at
education. I'll look that one up. Are you ready for education?
Sure, but this is directly related to what I was.
Number one state in education. Guess what it is? According to U.S. News, is that a fair source?
No, but go ahead.
Okay. Newsweek?
I'm just going to listen. Go ahead.
Is Newsweek a fair source?
Just spit it out. Say whatever you want to say.
Well, I'd like to have a genuine discussion, so I'm asking for a source that you also agree is valid.
You refuse to have a genuine discussion because you ask me something and then you get emotional when I give you an answer.
Well, because your answer doesn't really answer. It kind of just is a talking point that you spit back.
That's what you're doing.
No, I'm not doing that at all.
Well, proceed with whatever it is you want to say.
Education rankings, like I said I would.
Go ahead.
And then I'm confirming that I'm looking at I actually wanted you to do it so you could pick the source. And then you put it on me, so I went ahead and did it. Now, because I'm trying to have a genuine discussion, I'm asking if the source that I found is reliable to have a genuine discussion about. And you're trying to play semantics and avoid the point. I think it's because you sense that you don't really have a good point and you can't poke holes anywhere that I'm wrong.
You like to talk, Sam. I'm letting you talk.
Okay, so number one is Massachusetts. Do we know if Massachusetts is red or blue?
I'm just letting you talk, Sam.
That was a question. I'm taking a break when I ask a question so you can answer. Is that okay?
So, Sam, I think money is a really good measure. How does Massachusetts' economy compare to a red state?
Okay. So you want to pivot away from education?
Oh, no. I tie them together.
Well, that's fine that we can tie them together, but can you answer my question before you ask another question?
Massachusetts is obviously blue.
Okay, thanks.
That has nothing to do with it. And your measure is not accurate. It's based on their choice of how they pigeonhole or work to pigeonhole kids into a test score. What if the kid is dyslexic? What if the kid has autism?
Was trustworthy, but
it's not. The score is not trustworthy. You're keep going, Sam. Bless your heart.
I literally asked you for a source that you thought was trustworthy. So
there's not one because all of the statistics are based on test scores.
It was fake.
It is fake. It's based on test scores that don't measure education or intelligence. They don't measure the metric that I believe in.
Okay, so
that test score doesn't tell you how smart someone is.
To your subjective, what you think makes the best school system
No,
according to you.
it's not really subjective, Sam. It's about what produces economy. It's not subjective. I said, let's look at who produces money, who produces productivity. Why do you think Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, arguably, brought everything to Texas? It's not because California was so great.
Because Texas has less regard for like the well-being of the masses.
I think that's amazing that you take something that someone did out of extreme intelligence and calculation and you turn it into an insult. That's very fascinating.
Well, I mean, it is like there's more red tape in California because they care more about like the general population.
Oh, so all those people whose houses burned,
doesn't care if
they
the
care about them.
population. Like
all the people that are homeless in California, they care about them, right? What are they doing to enable them to earn?
Texas cares about theirs for sure.
Really?
Yes.
That's fascinating. And where are you from again?
Midwest, Great Plains.
And you speak educated about Texas because you're experienced with Texas. Is that right?
Well, I speak educated about like the U.S. economy and politics because I study them.
Oh, you do. Well, you don't sound super educated about Texas.
Well, I mean, you haven't said anywhere where I'm wrong. You've kind of just made claims that I am. So okay, that's fine.
Well, I didn't just make claims.
You don't know a lot, so I'm not really bothered by what your opinion of educated is.
I'm reading comments. I'm listening to you, but I'm reading comments as well. All right. Well,
Yeah, Massachusetts, by the way, Massachusetts has the #1 profit margin in the entire country and the #1 education based on test scores, which doesn't really say anything. I guess that's just correlation isn't causation there, right? #2 profit margin, New Jersey, blue. #3 profit margin, Maryland, blue. #4 profit margin, New Hampshire, purple. #5, California, blue. #6, Hawaii. #7, Washington, blue.
I am curious.
We're still not to a red state.
I am curious about what you're calling profit, because that's actually a little bit subjective. Are you talking about taxes, like generation of taxes?
Now you want to measure by tax revenue?
No, I don't. I'm asking if that's what they're calling state. Like, how are you getting this profit rating?
Let me look. I believe it's from the U.S. Bureau of Labor and Statistics, but
Yeah, people are saying you're not right about Maryland either. I mean, I'm not an expert on those things.
That was ranking by household income.
Oh, well, see, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like
Government profit.
no, not even government profit, because that's based on taxes. I'm talking about the overall market profit in the state. It would be almost like the GDP of the state.
Okay, so states ranked by GDP. That's what we're wondering.
Sure, that's a good measure. But see, those things are great indicators of the type of people they're putting out.
3 states blue, 2 states red. California #1, Texas #2, New York #3, Florida #4, Illinois #5.
What year was
So
that?
it looks like the 5 largest states have the 5 largest GDPs.
What year was that?
2023.
Okay. Well, that makes sense.
2024 is the same though. Same top 5 at least.
Okay. And who put that out?
I'm reading it from Wikipedia, so let me see where it says it came from. Oh, let's look at per capita. That's more accurate, right?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
You're not sure. What do you mean? Because you can't compare a smaller population to a larger one. Like,
Well-
that's not an accurate comparison. So per capita adjusts for that, so we can look at this honestly, right?
I'm not sure that's a great representation, because you you look at a densely populated state and compare it to a sparsely populated state.
Yeah, that's why per capita fixes that.
You go ahead, Sam.
Doesn't per capita take care of that discrepancy?
Not necessarily, because in your highly populated states, your regulations and things are different. But it's fine. Just
Well,
proceed.
yeah, but that's what we're trying to compare. Whose are better?
Oh, you're looking at per capita
to have better
GDP?
economies, right?
Are you looking at per capita
Whose
GDP?
regulations are more successful?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Whose regulations are more successful?
Yeah, that's the overall question we're trying to answer, right? That's why
Yeah.
we're looking up the GDP by state.
Yeah, I'm reading comments.
Sam is right, dude. Take the L. I thank you.
I can't. Let me see. Yeah, I think the per capita GDP thing that's fine. That's good.
Oh, now it's okay because somebody else.
Well, I just misunderstood what you were doing.
Like a clown.
Well, I'm totally fine. If I make a mistake, I'm okay with it.
Oh, come on.
But if I'm
No,
not,
you're not. You still.
oh, I absolutely am.
You still can't admit a civil violation isn't a crime.
It is a crime.
Well, you're wrong.
That's not going to. You can say that it doesn't matter, but it is, and it has nothing to do
We
with it.
looked it up, and you can't explain why you're right. All you can say is I'm right.
I looked it up and read it.
Yeah,
It doesn't say it's not a crime.
It did say it's not a crime. It said, well, it may not be a crime. It
May not be.
seems like it is because they're similar in this way.
You're stuck on
But
that,
it's
aren't
not
you,
a
Sam?
crime.
You're stuck on. I tell you what.
Because you can't be off.
I'll tell you what, Sam. I'll tell you what. You can be right about everything, and I can be wrong. And I'll live here in Texas, and I'll live here in Texas, and I'll keep working to help people learn how to earn their way to freedom.
Pretend you're working to help people.
And you can pretend you're helping people by keeping them enslaved to an entitlement mentality, and we'll see.
All
And
right,
make sure you leave your.
I want to listen to this back.
Make sure you leave your
Like,
front
you
door.
fucking clown.
Make
You got dog walked for the last 20.
make sure you leave your front door and your back door open so that people can come and go as they please. Make sure the refrigerator is fully stocked.
Well, they have to check in, so you can tell them where to message me, and I'll make sure I'm ready for them.
Make sure you do, and make sure that you have all those resources ready, because we don't want any closed borders at Sam's house.
Yep.
But anyway, I'm really grateful for the discussion. Huh?
What's the YouTube channel called?
The handle is Pop Culture 11.
And this is live on YouTube too.
Oh yeah.
Sick, so then I can save it. Okay, well, good luck. Hope you recover. All right.
Well, I'm doing just fine, Sam. Nothing about my beliefs or my direction has changed based on this conversation, but I'll tell you what did change. I met someone, and I learned a new name of someone to mention in my prayers, and I will do that.
You're a faithful type, LOL.
I do hope the best for you, Sam.
Makes sense that you don't know how to think rationally if you're an adult who believes in magic.
Like I said, Sam, you can be right. You can be right. Just stay that way. Some people.
I probably will until someone can explain to me that I'm not, instead of just say that claims so.
You don't strike me as someone who will shift your paradigm based on the truth.
Well, you have to give me truth, not just claims that you.
All I can say is how you strike me. I'm not saying what you are or what you're not. We've never met, but I have enjoyed the conversation. I really have, and
I hope you've learned a lot.
Oh, I've learned an enormous amount, and I look forward to learning more. And I hope you'll join us next Tuesday. We'll be back here at 10 o'clock, same time, same place. And we may continue the discussion about the paradigm of slavery because we didn't really get into the meat of it. We had some other things that we wanted to talk about. And I've got a guest that hopefully will be joining us next week. And he has a great perspective on this. He's been on the show before. He goes by the name of DJ Man TV. Anyway, I look forward to seeing what he's got to say about it. And I'd invite any of you out there, if you have seen the show, if you've been a part of the show today or at any other time, we're happy to have you on with us, to co-host with us, to get involved in the discussion, to say your piece, whatever it may be. I make you the promise to stay respectful. I make you the promise to let your voice be heard. And I thank you all for allowing us to become a part of the pursuit of your purpose. I hope you have a great day, and we